Hello my friends and welcome to my creative YouTube channel, The Pianist. My name is Marjam. If it's your first time here, a warm welcome, and if you're a returning viewer, welcome back. Of course, I'm very happy to see you here. In my videos, I like to talk to you about the creative projects that I'm working on, and that can be sewing my own garments, sometimes a little bit of crochet. I love to knit, yeah, absolutely. But sometimes I do other crafts as well. So, yes, I try to make one video each month to be published on the first Friday of the month in the evening at 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock Central European Time. That's it. So, for today, what have I been working on the past few weeks since episode 27? My first finished project is a handmade greeting card. Yes. In my previous episode, number 27, I showed you my summer Bermuda shorts in pink flowery fabric. And yes, I was inspired to select a motif, as you could see in the footage of the introduction in this video. I selected a motif on the fabric. I used a pre-made card with an opening, a circle, with a golden border around it. Can you see it? Yeah. So that's how the card, the pre-made card looks. Then, inspired by another craft that is called parchment craft, I wanted to draw the motif on a piece of translucent parchment paper. And in one of my previous videos that I made, I guess 3 years ago, it is episode number 10, I have talked about the craft, parchment craft, that is often called now pergamano. And if you are interested, you could visit my playlists. I have selected 5 videos, and the channel is called Creative and Craft TV. I will mention all the details in the description box, should you be interested in the techniques of parchment craft. So I made the motif, I drafted, how can I explain this? Well, yeah, my native language is Dutch, if you would not know yet. So this is parchment paper. This is my fabric, and this is a motif that I selected. Like this, I guess, something like that. Then, with white pencil, so what did I use, or what was necessary is a white pencil to draw the contours, yeah, and then 2 simple embossing tools to give some texture to the design. So that's how it looks when it is finished, when it was finished. So I colored just with my coloring pencils. I didn't use very special pencils. My color pencils are Faber-Castell polychromos. So I colored the leaves and the flower of rose, and then at the back of the parchment craft paper I embossed. And to be able to emboss, I use a mat beneath the parchment paper. Yeah, and I emboss at the back of the drawing. So that's how it looks. I just embossed the flower, and I think I can feel it, the leaves. So there is a little bit of a bump here, it's a little bit of relief texture. Yeah. So that is my special greeting card. Then because you see that it is not completely white, the background color. To create that background color, I didn't color on the parchment craft, but I added in the background a little piece of, it's like a peachy color, very soft pastel kind of color, and I put it behind the parchment craft. And then of course the 2 layers of paper had to go inside the card, like this. Yeah, so first the parchment craft paper, the parchment paper, so that is completely translucent, and when I put the background paper, you can see that this is a really soft pastel color. And then of course I glued the one part of the card, and that is the finished result, like this. So I was inspired by my fabric, the fabric of my Bermuda shorts that I have showed you in a previous episode. So you see, creative ideas can pop up at any moment. You just have to trust your creative inspiration, and yes, just try it. Don't be afraid, I would say. So that was project number 1. My second project. My next finished project is a dress, a knitted dress, but not for myself. It's a knitted dress, as you could see on the photo, for a knitted toy. And if you have watched my previous video, episode number 27, you know that I have knitted another little dog. And the pattern that I use, of course, for the little dog comes from Little Cotton Rabbits and is called, yes, Dog in a Sweater. But at that time, she had to borrow some garments from Alfred. Yeah, because I had to cast on and knit her dress, of course. So that's what I did. And if this video is not getting too long with me chatting to you, I will add here some footage of me knitting the little dress and finishing the little dress for my little dog, little white dog. So here she is. Look at her, how cute she is. So that is her little dress. For the dress I used the pattern from Little Cotton Rabbits again, and I will mention everything in the description box below the video. Little Cotton Rabbits, and the pattern is called Bear or Panda, Girl in a Plaid Dress. But as you can see, yeah, I couldn't help myself starting improvising. So I knitted the dress flat on two knitting needles. I followed the pattern almost exactly. I used stripes instead of the plaid motif, and then at the bottom or at the hem I just increased by knitting 2 stitches in each stitch, and that's how you get this how is this called, ruffle, a fringe. Yeah, I should know, but I always forget some words in English. So that is her dress. Look at her, she can dance. So what I didn't have a pink little button, but yeah, I didn't worry either. I just hand sewed on the button that I had at home in my, yeah, let's say treasure room. So, you know, she will travel to Sweden soon. I know, I'm sure of it. To be a nice and quiet, cozy companion to my little grandson Felix. He's now 4.5 years young. And he already decided about her name. Yeah, and she will be called Binchlin. Binchlin. And this, in fact, in Chinese, that means ice cream. So it's amazing how he is picking up words in different languages. I think these Chinese words, he picks it up from my son or daughter-in-law, because my daughter-in-law is Shanghainese. She's from China. Voila. So here is Binchlin. I like her a lot, of course, and she will be hopefully a nice and cozy and happy companion in Sweden. Yeah. Oh yes, I forgot to tell you. But if you have watched my previous videos, you will already know I knit the body parts of the little dog with Drops Karisma, which is it's a very fine quality and it's affordable to buy. Drops Karisma, and this one of course was knitted in off-white, color 01. And the garments, because as you can see she has a little shorts and a little dress, I knit the garments with Drops Safran. Drops Safran. Yeah, and the colors that I used were this kind of soft pink and off-white. And the soft pink color, I will see if I can find a number, because I always attach a little strand of yarn at the back on each label of the specific color, so it should be okay. Color 01. Soft pink, and that's how it looks. Voila. Well, I will have some tea first to help my voice. Well, my next project is a knitted project. And because I have a lot of leftover sock yarn, I wanted to use the sock yarn to make something for myself. And I found a nice pattern for a shawl, a free pattern on the Drops website, and I will mention everything in the description box or on the screen here. So the pattern is called Wings of a Dove. Wings of a Dove. And this is my finished shawl. I will show to you. Sorry. Yeah, maybe you already saw some pictures of this shawl on my Instagram account. So, like this, because it's rather big, you know. And then the second half is like this. I like it a lot. So I chose two different solid colors, two shades of blue. You can see that here it is much brighter, and oh yeah, I used pink also. So in fact I have I have knitted with three different kinds of solid colors: the bright blue, the magenta or fuchsia, and a lighter shade of blue. But all the colors in between, these rows of solid colors, are knitted with one bowl of the same variegated multicolor yarn. And that is the result. I really like it. So I will explain a little bit about the pattern, just share just share a little bit of my experience while I was knitting this pattern. So I cast on two needles because, yeah, for me that is easier, and I continue with two knitting needles until I have, I think, 20 centimeters. But then of course you get too many stitches, and the stitches are yeah, it's not easy to continue on two needles, so I switched to circular needles. So for the first triangle, you can see you have a middle stitch, and on each side of the middle stitch you have yarn overs. Yeah. So but the pattern calls for increasing by doing the yarn overs just before and after the middle stitch every 2 rows. But at the same time, let's say in row 3, the pattern calls for asks you to decrease 2 stitches, one at the beginning of the row and one at the end of the row. So I made a little drawing to explain you more clearly, but I guess it is not difficult at all for you, but maybe it can help. So in row 1, you have increased 2 stitches by doing a yarn over before and behind the middle stitch. After the middle stitch. Then the row 2 is just knit every stitch. Row 3, again, you will increase by doing 2 yarn overs besides the middle stitch, but in row 3 you will decrease 2 stitches, one at the beginning and at the end of the row, and in row 4 you just continue knitting. So if we would not decrease these 2 stitches in row 3, we would increase the size of the triangle much too quickly, too fast, and we would get a very, very big triangle. So by decreasing 2 stitches every 2 rows, we get this shape of triangle. So I invented a little trick for myself as a reminder of the row where I have to decrease the stitches. So what did I do? Row 1 and 2 I knitted with the multicolor yarn, like you can see how I wrote it down for you here. So row 1 and 2 just increasing with the yarn overs and I was knitting with the multicolor yarn. And row 3 and 4 I changed to the solid color, and that way it was easy to remind myself that in row 3 I had to decrease 2 stitches. That was my little trick. But of course, when you finish your first triangle, and so you will have approximately 60 centimeters, but because of course you can decide yourself how wide you want your triangle, first triangle, then you will cast off half of the stitches except the middle stitch. So you cast off these stitches of the first triangle. So this is the how wide your triangle is, because it goes like this. So you are knitting like this, hop, hop, and of course back. So if these stitches are cast off, you end up with the other half of stitches, and that way, yeah, maybe here it is easier to switch to 2 needles. Why not? Because, yeah, changing the row with circular needles is a little bit of, it's a bit uncomfortable. So here you start with the second triangle, and for to do the decreases in the right way, it is helpful to make a plan, something like this, because we have to decrease every 5th row. Yeah, and I write it down like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and yeah, I just mark when I have finished knitting 1 row each time. So yeah, that is a knitted shawl, a free pattern on the Drops website, and you will find everything in the description box. So it's a great idea. So, and because I have a lot of leftover sock yarn, and I really enjoyed knitting this pattern, I started a second Wings of a Dove shawl. So, and I will add some footage of me working on this shawl, or the first shawl and the second shawl, at the end of this video, so you will watch me working on it, if you like. So my second Wings of a Dove shawl, I selected a few different colors, the colors that I had in my at home, here in my stash. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, I knit the shawl in this leftover sock yarn with needles number 3.5, because that creates a very loose, well, yeah, kind of loose fabric. I think it would otherwise, if we would knit with 2.5, numbers 2.5, it would be too dense. Voila, my second Wings of a Dove shawl. I started with the dark blue and one of my multicolor yarns. Then I switched to a lighter blue to have some more contrast. Then I had to change because my multicolor yarn, I knitted everything, so I had to continue with another multicolor yarn, and then I switched to a solid color orange, as you can see, then a lighter orange, and now I added yellow. And again I started improvising, because the yellow inspired me to create a more open fabric, and this is very easy to do. Every 5th row, the row after decreasing, yes, the row after decreasing, I knit every stitch by doing two loops on my right needle before knitting it through the stitch. So that is a very easy stitch. and you create a very open fabric, a lace kind of fabric. Yeah. You know, at first I was not really convinced of these color choices. Yeah, sometimes, but I wanted to continue knitting with my leftover sock yarn and not going to the shop to buy new colors while I have so much leftover yarn. But you know, now that I have arrived at the second triangle and that I have the orange and the yellow, well, I thought it gives me the impression of a bright sunrise over the ocean. Well, if you are a sock knitter and you have a lot of leftover sock yarns, I can really recommend that pattern, Drops Wings of a Dove. And I hope you enjoy knitting the pattern as much as I did. So, this is it for today. I have enjoyed myself making this video for you, and of course I hope you have enjoyed our time together as well. And yeah, if you like the video, you can always give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, or write a comment if you feel comfortable doing that, of course. I read all the comments and I always reply. So I hope you're all doing well, of course. I wish you lots of inspiration and time to create. Have a lovely weekend or week and see you next time. Bye.